Зараз буде огляд півфінального матчу турніру Welsh Open, в якому зіграє Джо Хіггінс і Гаррі Вілсон. Так, в першому півфіналі грав Ентоні Хемілтон.
Not only can he mix it with the best, and you can't buy that self-made Wilson goes about his snooker now.
Доннелл і Елісон Слейсер. Мартін Доннелл виграв з рахунком 6-5. І вийшов в фінальну стадію, де чекає пару Гаррі Вілсон, Джо Хіггінс. Так, Джо Хіггінс четвертьфіналі обіграв Маркалом з рахунком 5-2, а Гаррі Вілсон Ентоні Макгіла з рахунком 5-0. В четвертому раунді Джо Хіггінс обіграв Матюсельта з рахунком 4-0. А Гаррі Вілсон робить Мілкінса з рахунком 4-0. В третьому раунді Джо Хіггінс обіграв з рахунком 4-1. Гаррі Вілсон, Джека Лісовський з рахунком 4-3. В другому раунді Джо Хіггінс обіграв Тімпельфей з рахунком 4-1. Гаррі Вілсон і Ілля Бойко з рахунком 4-2.
And John Higgins, you can be sure, will be rooting for him, and he's missed the red.
Так, початок першого тайму.
And didn't get it out of the...
Так, Гаррі Вілсон забиває червоний шар в праву дальню лузу. Вихід на синій шар.
25.
Well, he's chosen a team with very
You're in the final, but before we talk about that, we've got to talk about those first 2 frames.
All right, wasn't it?
It was all right, yeah.
Naturally, I'm a player. I'm disappointed I didn't get the first one, but very thankful that another good chance came along straight away. I said that earlier on, that when I made my last one at the UK, I had a good chance in the frame before and then made one the frame after. So that's twice that's happened now. So I just get them in 2s. Yeah.
Well, to do it in a big semi-final is just incredible, really.
Yeah, that's the latest stage in a tournament I've made one. So I'm obviously delighted to get one in sort of a one-table setup in the final stages of a tournament. It's packed crowd, obviously. It was a great experience, yeah.
So we talked about it a bit the other day, but just talk us through your story to get here, because now, you know, you're competing in these big finals regular, but it wasn't always like that, was it? No,
not at all. Had a couple of years on the tour back in 2004, just the 20 years ago. And, you know, I felt as if back then I was 18, 19, a young lad, feeling as if I was capable of doing damage, just never really panned out that way. And then I had a lot of years off the tour, a lot of years. So the second stint, ever since really 2013, year on year, I would say generally I've been getting better and better.
And obviously beating John, but now you've got like Martin, and he's had a similar story to you. Who's in off. You know, it's a great example for people to just keep going.
Yeah, there's so many examples now, I think, of these lads who are coming through like later on in their career, and it just shows you don't ever give up hope, because things can turn around and you can all of a sudden be in a ranking final and your life can change, you know. So anybody who's struggling, stick in. Martin's been around for a long, long time, and he's reaping some rewards now, eventually. So pleased for him, pleased he's doing well. He knows his way around the table better than most. Very good under pressure, as has been seen this week. And yeah, if he plays well, it'll be a very, very tough game. So I'm under no illusions that I don't care where he's ranked. He's another tough player. He's in a ranking final. So I just want to focus on myself and try and, as I always try and do, forget who's in the chair, just play my game, and hopefully that'll see us through.
And this would, if you did win, that would be the second ranking event in a season, which is, I think, another level again. I mean, that must be, you know, you're becoming a serial winner, aren't you?
You try not to, you know, think too much like that, because, you know, this game, anything can change. I could go another 10 seasons and not win anything. You just never know. But I would obviously love to do it tomorrow. If I can do it, great. But you've just got to keep taking one tournament at a time, and that's as you know, you've got all you can do in your career is just keep giving it 100% every single time and see where it takes you.
And we saw that last night, 100% against Higgins, and a 5th career century. Maximum break, 199 maximum breaks have been made, 10 this season. Gary Wilson at the Welsh Open, 2 at the Championship League, Higgins, Wilson, and then the Masters. That was ridiculous from Ding, followed up by Mark Allen. The snooker shootout, Sean Murphy, Zhu C made one of the UK Championship, Zhang Anda, Ryan Day and Sean O'Sullivan all on the list at the European Masters. We were chatting about Gary's 147. It all just looks so straightforward. Looking at the 10 names that have made one this season, best of the season, best of the 10?
I'm going to sit in the fence a little bit and call 2. I think Sean Murphy's in the shootout was totally different, was it? Wasn't it? And then in the Masters, both Mark Allen and Ding were super special in such a high-profile event. So I'm sitting on the fence and not leaving Jim much to work with.
Well, you're taking his fence.
Thanks, Al. No, I 100% Sean Murphy is a feat, a little bit like Ronnie O'Sullivan's 5-minute maximum. I don't think that'll be done again, but I'm going to go with Gary Wilson's maximum last night, because his pinpoint position was absolutely superb.
Okay, we might have the 200 today in the final of the Welsh Open. You just never know. The way Gary was playing yesterday, 104, the 147, a break of 82, 89, 73, on fire.
It was up there with the best players that's ever played this game in a single little session, a 4-frame segment, 368 points unanswered against John Higgins, no less. And here's the maximum itself coming up. I mean, 13 reds, 13 blacks in the previous frame was incredible, Jim, but as you say, the way that he took the maximum itself was...
Yeah, you know, even this particular shot here, he's banging trouble. He just floats that long red in. This is another long red to get in. You know, once he's doing this, he's creating these scoring opportunities. You know, he's a very clever player as well. He's got a good tactical game. He's found a 4-ball plant there. Puts John Higgins banging trouble. So he's all-round game, Gary Wilson. When he won the Scottish in December, defended his title, prior to that, he'd not really produced anything. He was talking about the yips with us in the studio. That's gone. He won that tournament. Now, all of a sudden, the belief has always been there, but he's now a complete player, you know, and he's a big favourite today, but he's make no mistake, he give his opponent Martin the utmost respect because he is a top player as well.
And he can go on these bursts. You know, we saw last night against John Higgins, he did it against Chris Wakelin. We spoke about just how good that performance was, 4 centuries on the spin, and you know, in a big tournament. Will it change his standing in the game if he is to win today? He'll be the 29th player to win 3.
I think it will. These things are reserved for special players, you know, multiple ranking events in a season. Only 4 guys have ever won a Home Nations event 3 times. It would put him in that bracket. And it puts you on a pedestal that's up there. Yes, he hasn't won or really threatened to win a Triple Crown event, but that's maybe in the future. It's taken him a long time to come to the forefront of the game, but he's there now.
He's there, and he'll be looking to push on. And you can hear behind us the crowd. They're just warming up. They're just being whipped into a frenzy by our MC, Phil Seymour. And we will be back shortly, of course, to talk more about this final, this Welsh Open final. And what a day for Martin O'Donnell, the world number 76. We know all about Gary Wilson, and we'll be talking about his chances coming next.
Snooker on Eurosports is sponsored by Ambassador, the premium value cruise line.
You can have crystal clear meetings, quick
And it's the big one, the Welsh Open final. We have focused on Gary Wilson and his chances, his hopes, his dreams. What about Martin O'Donnell, a first ever ranking final? Here he is with Michael.
You're into your first ever ranking event final. Talk to me.
Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? You come away from these tournaments pretty much disappointed all the time, and you know, watching other lads kick on and, you know, get to their first finals, and you know, and you're just hoping that the hard work you're putting in the club pays off for you one day and you'll be in that situation. And yeah, thankfully it's going to be me tomorrow.
And in 2021, Jordan came through the field as a bit of a lower ranked player. Does that inspire you?
Yeah, of course, of course. When you see other guys like Jordan break through and do it, you know, it does. It gives you a boost, it gives you some inspiration, and you know, in fairness, I mean, you know, how well he played in the final against Ronnie, I think it was, wasn't it? So it shows it can be done, and yeah, it's inspirational.
What was it like when you dropped off the tour, and, you know, how did you deal with that? You must be proud of how you've come back so much stronger.
Yeah, really proud, you know. It's not great when you drop off the tour. You know, it's nigh on impossible to earn a living in the amateur game. But, you know, listen, I thought I need 12 months here. You know, sort of hoped that it would only be 12 months, but you don't know. You know, it's pretty tough to get back on. But I had some dark moments, I won't lie to you. But I've come out the other side of it, and I definitely feel stronger and better for it. And I think my results are showing.
And did you believe that you'd be in the final so quickly?
Well, no. I mean, I don't know. It's not really something you think about. You know, when you go to the tournaments, you just kind of want to win a couple of matches and get a foothold in the tournament, and then see where that takes you. I always knew I had it in the locker. I was just, you know, hoping that it would come out one day, and yeah, this week it's come out nicely.
Well, it's great to hear his story, because it is some turn in fortunes, isn't it? Because you're in the dark and, you know, tough times, and you're wondering if you're ever going to return to the professional ranks, never mind your first year back, get into a major final.
Yeah, as he said, when he was falling off the tour, you know, it was getting impossible to even play his natural game. You know, the pressure of the thought of that. He's got a young family as well. I think he's had a guy... well, there's Ian McCulloch there. He's an ex-snooker player. I think he's his mentor. But I think who stuck with him as well. Hopefully he's here today. And I think that took a bit of pressure off him. But worked so hard at his game. You know, he played in all the amateur events, even though he fell off the tours. He said he couldn't make a living, but he kept his game together, got back on, and you know, this season and this tournament, he showed what a player he is, and he's. You know, he's one of them players now that he does win a lot of frames in one visit.
He certainly does. Yeah, I was watching him clearing up last night to win that semi-final, and I thought, this is a guy who looks to me like he is going to be reserving his best stuff from now on for the main stage. Hopefully he plays on there a lot. The other striking similarities that I was thinking about last night, there's another guy on the tour right now who it dawned on me. Zhang Anda. Think about him. He turned pro in 2009, way back when. Hadn't done anything really for 10 years as far as the business end of tournaments. Lo and behold, he gets to a final against Judd. He goes 7-3 up and looks $1 million. Then he goes out to China and demolishes the field really to win the international championship. So there are similarities there. Whether it comes to fruition and Martin elevates himself to that, we don't know. But he looks to me to be very comfortable out there, and that's all you have to be when you're good.
Well, it's almost like the old Martin O'Donnell and the new Martin O'Donnell, a little bit like Zhang Anda maybe. Obviously is to go on and win the tournament. The pressure of a final, and then your little boys turning up, Charlie and Tommy, and family and friends, you know, they've not been here all week. What is that like, Jimmy? Because I know that maybe it's something you've struggled with in the past.
Well, I think it's a thing that they should do it, because if they're going to win tournaments, and if they, you know, this field is so difficult in snooker, he might not get to another final. So, you know, if he does win, it'd be nice to him to have his family there. Hopefully it doesn't distract him and he stays focused. I'm sure, you know, it'd be a good occasion all round. But for me, I'm a bit with Alan. You know, when he gets in his own bubble, Martin, he gets in his own zone, and because of the TV table, he doesn't get bogged down and get over 30 seconds a shot. He's averaged about 25, 26 seconds.
He's better out there. He's quicker on the TV table.
Yeah, and that helps him because you haven't got time to go, oh, like in the qualifying matches, some of these, you can take, you know, people get bogged down and like the frames take forever.
Yeah.
Out there, you've got to produce. You've got all the eyes on you and you want to play your own game. So I think he'll be fine. Hopefully his family and all that won't distract him.
No, it'll be great. And wouldn't it be lovely for everyone involved? They've all been on the journey, haven't they? But great that he has the perspective now and his love for snooker has reignited now. Let's hear from Ronnie. He's been with us all week and Michael caught up with him reflecting on his first final. It was only the UK Championship and he's got a few words from Martin O'Donnell ahead of this one.
The trophy and the title of the 1993 Royal Life Assurance United Kingdom champion, Ronnie O'Sullivan.
I'm just young and just happy to be there playing and just enjoying the occasion and just play, you know, just enjoy playing whoever I played, you know. I didn't really approach it any other way other than just like it's another game, really.
And obviously that's what advice you'd give Martin O'Donnell for his first fight.
Yeah, well listen, Mark, just go and play, just enjoy it, play the way you've been playing, you know. If you can take that form that he's been playing all week into any match, you know, the final, he's got a chance, you know.
And what is it about Gary's game that makes him such a tough opponent, do you think?
I think he just has a tremendous self-belief that if he plays well, he thinks he's better than anybody else's best, which is great, you know. You know, that's a tremendous asset that I think he has. You know, he generally does fancy the job.
Well, it is all about fancying the job and, you know, it's been a long journey all week, all those matches, all those battles, and it's all about producing the best stuff. And at the back of their mind, I guess, getting to the final, knowing not just the Ray Reardon Trophy, the prize money, but also all the add-ons, because there are many now, Alan and Jim.
Yeah, the spin-offs are going to be there, the Champion of Champions. For later in the year, he'd be in next week at the Players. He'd be in good position to get in the Tour Championship pre-Crucible. He's not in the tournament, the World Open in China, but it would put him in good position, about £10,000 ahead of the race. Martin O'Donnell, if he were to triumph today, Jim.
Yeah, you know, so much to play for. Hopefully he won't be going into too much in detail of that, because he's got to focus on, you know, the task ahead of him of beating Gary Wilson, the man who's like been there, done it just recently, really comfortable with his game, won 4-7s, really took Higgins apart in the first session. So he's got to focus on that. But, you know, these bonuses, it's great that they're there for him. So, and it's also for Gary as well, you know, as you said, to win two ranking titles in a season is a tremendous feat with the strength and depth.
Well, this is it, and he won his first Scottish Open, and I remember the interviews like, that's it, that's me done now. You know, I always just wanted to win one. And I'm like, well, we'll see, because you will want to win more, and he's won another since, and he's in another final, so huge. Right, 1-3 he is today, Gary Wilson, 3-1 on, very strong favourite. Are we going to see another big upset in Wales? Who's going to win?
I'm going to go for Martin O'Donnell if he can take a leaf out of the Zhang Anda playbook. I hope he can, for his own sake. I'm going to go Martin O'Donnell to get this 197 tonight.
I think it's too skinny. I don't think he's 1-3. I think it's going to be a close game. I actually can't pick a winner.
Oh.
Well, do I have to,
yeah.
Snooker's the winner.
Snooker's the winner. We're all the winners. So what a week it's been. And a great final in prospect. Martin O'Donnell and Gary Wilson. 8 frames this afternoon. And the players are ready. So is Phil Seymour.
Well, we began with 128 players. Today, only one can lift the Ray Reardon Trophy. Prynhawn Croeso, good afternoon and a very warm welcome to the final of the Bet Victor Welsh Open here at Venue Cymru in Llandudno. It's a best of 17 frames. It's time now to welcome the players. We begin with a player who wasn't even on tour 12 months ago. He knocked out the reigning world champion en route to this, his first ever ranking event final. Welcome the Minister of Defence, Martin O'Donnell. this arena with a maximum 1-4-7 break in last night's semi-final, looking to add the Welsh Open title to his 2 Scottish Open wins, the Tyneside Terror, Gary Wilson!
Settle in, folks. Enjoy the final with us. And good afternoon to our commentary team, Joe Johnson. And first up, it's Philip Studd.
The climax of a compelling 7 days of snooker action here in Llandudno, and also of the 8th Home Nations season, with more snooker history about to be written. Can Martin O'Donnell defy the odds and lift his first ranking title in his first final? Or can Gary Wilson become just the 3rd player this season, after a certain Ronnie O'Sullivan and Judd Trump, to be a multiple ranking titleist in this campaign? He'd be in very esteemed company if he can make it happen. That's the Ray Reardon Trophy they're playing for, along with a cheque for £80,000. It's the best of 17 frames now, 8 of which are coming your way this afternoon. 9, the magic number to be champion at the Welsh Open.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The first frame. Gary Wilson to break.
Gary Wilson to get us underway, fresh from the high of that magnificent performance last night against the great John Higgins, who came to the party in the second half of the match in a big way. A couple of those trademark clearances to put the pressure on Wilson, but he stood up to it. And the red that he knocked in, Joe, on his way to clinching the match was gutsy in the extreme.
Yeah, he played absolutely brilliant, didn't he, Gary Wilson? Nearly had 2 maximums, never mind 1. But this man didn't play too badly either. I just hope they can bring that same kind of form to this final.
Well, he too finished on a high against Elliot Slessor, making a century in the deciding frame to book a place in your first ranking final. It doesn't get much cooler than that, and he actually said afterwards it was the best he'd felt in the whole match. Didn't feel any nerves in making that break.
That's a great sign, you know, isn't it? Not to feel nerves in the final frame. It's what you dream about. Good safety from Gary Wilson. Had to cover that red near the right corner, otherwise Martin would have had a chance at it.
This is their 5th meeting. They've each won 2. But they haven't played since 2015. This, of course, is by far and away the most significant encounter between the two. Gary Wilson looking to win his 2nd Home Nations event of the season, of course, having retained his Scottish Open title. And his 3rd title in all. For Martin O'Donnell, brand new territory. But being the underdog in this tournament, in the last 3 years anyway, has not been any hindrance at all. Remember, Jordan Brown was the world number 81 at the outset when he won it against Ronnie O'Sullivan as a 750-to-1 outsider at the start of the tournament. Joe Perry and last year Rob Milkins, both unfancied initially.
Well, chance at this red to the ball corner. Not going to leave anything, but the red is playing, which he has done. Got so close to it, it didn't come away from the pocket. So you could say the first real chance, Martin O'Donnell. Needs to come out of the balk area. I don't think he's hit it hard enough. No, it's a tricky yellow, that. Potted the red a little bit thick, and that's why the cue ball didn't come out of the balk area. Look at this again. He caught it off the far angle.
Martin O'Donnell won.
Just over a year ago, Martin O'Donnell was winning the 6th event on the Snooker Q Tour to reclaim his pro status, having dropped off the previous season. He talked about some dark moments to Michael Holt ahead of this final, but he always felt as though he had, in his words, unfinished business with this game, and he's hoping to finish that business today. And as the guys in the studio were saying, the rewards for lifting this trophy are manifold for O'Donnell. He'd be in the Players' Championship next week.
Switch it off, please.
Mobile phone. Let's hope that's the first and last of the final. I won't hold my breath on that score, but...
Well, Gary Wilson's long potting this week has been superb, really has. And he's got a chance here. This red to the left corner.
That would be my worst nightmare.
Gary suggesting it might be referee Leo Scullions. I don't think so. I think Leo's more old school.
Oh, a long way off that one.
Yeah, if O'Donnell won today, he'd be up to 12th place in the one-year list above Mark Allen. And in the process, he'd knock Chris Wakelin out of that Players' Championship in Telford, the top 16. Of course, he has no points from last season because he wasn't on the tour, but he'd be up to 43rd in the provisional two-year rankings if he won today, which would set him up perfectly.
Oh, very attacking shot, this. Yeah, he was opening all the reds up, didn't hold back. And he has left a red on. So both players showing a little bit of nerves, it's understandable. This red to the right middle. Well, just a little bit thinner than he would have liked, but I'd expect him to pot this. It's where the cue ball goes.
One.
And if the blue goes to the corner, he's okay. So, really good chance this to put his stamp on this final. Show how well he's playing. Used all the pocket, and it dropped in.
6. 7.
The start last night for Gary Wilson against John Higgins, who went into that match as favourite given how well he played, was extraordinary. I mean, to get so close to the maximum in the first frame of the semi-final was actually surprising when he missed that 14th red. And then in the very next frame to make the maximum, and as Jimmy White said, his cue ball control throughout that 147 break was pinpoint, was extraordinary.
Yeah, he's got great cue ball control. Makes every shot easy if he can. Getting right behind the object ball.
Just as impressive, though, in the end was the way he held off that tremendous fight back from John Higgins, who put together those back-to-back clearances from 50, 40 odd behind. And the red he got in for what proved to be the match-winning break was pure class under pressure.
Yeah, although you have to say that Higgins had the first chance in the first two frames. Missed the ball. And gave Gary Wilson a chance. A little bit like O'Donnell in this frame. He had a good chance there. It wasn't a difficult shot.
29.
But now it's given Gary Wilson a chance to settle. Nice little cannon on the red. And this is the kind of start that he wanted.
36.
In amongst the reds.
Well, the clear advantage that Wilson has today is that he comes into this final knowing that he's got what it takes to win one. Martin O'Donnell has yet to prove that. In the 2 Scottish Open finals he's won. He won pretty emphatically 9-2 in his first year against Joe O'Connor, 9-5 against Noppon Sankam this season.
44.
He's not afraid of the winning line, Wilson. And that extra belief he now has, having become a multiple tournament winner, is plain to see.
45.
He's always had the talent, but now he's got the belief to go with it.
Exactly. You know, we've seen players down the years who've took a long time to break through. Stuart Bingham was a late starter, as was Barry Hawkins, but both proved that they was certainly
50.
deserved to be in the top 16. Stuart Bingham went on to win the World Championship.
51.
So still reds they can play for. Nothing for being short here. Better too hard than too slow. Would have had the red next to the pink had he been too hard.
56.
But he's perfectly on this red below the pink.
$57.
He's already made 25 centuries this season. And that maximum as well yesterday. Every chance of making another century here.
I think he's one of the most aesthetically pleasing players to watch, actually, when he's in. He's got a lovely cue action. He's very smooth. He's rhythmic.
65.
Yeah, there goes frame ball.
O'Donnell missed the red to the right corner, and it's proved very expensive, as it looked likely to be when he spread the reds.
Nice little shot there, bringing that red into play. Giving himself every chance of making the century.
73.
It's a great start, this, and a real good way to punish your opponent, winning the frame off his mistake. This is the mistake.
59.
Martin O'Donnell. As I say, it wasn't too difficult, the red, and full marks for playing it the way that he did.
80.
Showing that he's feeling positive. But you've got to put all your concentration into the pot when you're opening the reds up like that. The white takes care of itself. It goes where it wants to go.
84.
Just picking up where he left off against Higgins last night. He looks very cool, very composed. Yes, it was an inviting table, but you still got to pot them. First frame of a major final, bound to be butterflies in the stomach, but
91.
Wilson already back in his bubble.
Yeah, it could be a good thing, this, for Martin O'Donnell. He knows that he's got to play. He's seen what the standard is. So I don't think he's got time for nerves. Just a little bit too far on the yellow for comfort. Needs the green for the century.
98.
Needs a big bounce.
Shame. Not quite the century, but a statement of intent nonetheless from the reigning Scottish Open champion Gary Wilson. A very fluent break of 98 to take the first frame of the Welsh Open final.
What if the car of the future was already here? At Spoticar, we bring you today the cars of tomorrow.
Yeah, as Philip said, they've played 4 times. Honours even, 2 each. But they haven't played for 9 years nearly. Settle for that. Yeah, the problem he's got here, if he plays the cue ball down the right side of the table, it's easy enough to get the cue ball back down the table. So he's trying to get in behind the brown, cut off the right side of the table, and that's a pretty good shot. Again, just caught it a little bit too thin, and that's why the cue ball has come out of the baulk area. Hasn't had many shots so far, Martin, so needs to settle a little bit more. And you never really settle until you win a frame. Caught the angles of the pocket. Could have been worse. The black's tied up, so the red that's available to the left corner, which is that one. He may, if he takes it on, may try and bring the black into play. Another big shot. Martin O'Donnell had one in the last frame. Yep, he tried to bring the black into play. Now, what damage has he done, if anything? Yeah, possible plant to the right middle, as you can see there, but the cue ball's going into the other end, so there's no colour. So it's a big risk to take that on with no colour available. You could try and get the cue ball down on the baulk cushion behind the yellow. He hasn't hit it hard enough, so can Martin see this red to the right corner? He can, but it's not straightforward, this, and not straightforward to finish on the black either. He's going to play this at pace to bounce the cushion, bounce the cue ball off the cushion. Yeah, it's a nervy start so far for Martin O'Donnell. He's had 3 chances. None of them was easy. He expected him to pot one of them. So, chance. It's red to the right corner. I think he got a slight kick there, you know. And the red turned up, but we know this. We've seen it all week. In fact, Elliot Slessor missed a blue, and instead of dropping into the pocket, it went slightly to the right, as did that red. So that's a let-off. Donnell.
One.
Oh, that's a terrible shot. Look at the red. Look at it just turning to the right slightly. Yep, it did. It went left. His left. Our right. But not to finish on the black there for Martin.
Rainbow. Sorry, rainbow.
He wouldn't be the first debutant in a ranking final to feel the pressure, feel the nerves. It's a completely different experience to anything he would have encountered before. The chance to play for a big title, to realise his lifetime ambition. And that is going to be one of the big questions today. How is he going to deal with the occasion? We know that Gary Wilson can. He's proved it on a couple of occasions now. Can Martin O'Donnell thrive in this environment? Play the snooker that's got him to the final. If he does, then of course he can win. But that's one of the challenges for him, to be able to relax and play his normal game with so much at stake.
Foul and a miss. Gary Wilson, 4. Yeah. Yeah, Gary, thanks.
Yeah, nicely played. Just had to find the line the first time round. There was no point in coming past the red and leaving it on.
How did you feel in your first ranking final appearance, Joe, when you were out there?
Well, I was playing Tony Knowles, actually, in the professional players tournament, and I'd had a pretty good run in the tournament, beating Jimmy and Tony Mayo, Cliff Thorburn. So I was feeling good. But Tony was such a magnificent player, very inspirational, a bit like Gary Wilson. He went 7-1 up, and I was all over the place. Took me a long time to get used to it, but I levelled at 8 each, and Tony won the decider. Still in my memory.
Well, I'm sure this packed crowd here at Venue Cymru would settle for a decider today, for sure.
Yep. Well, can't really get a good safety here. Maybe just push the red forward a little. Just past the middle pocket, maybe. The red's coming back down, and he didn't want that, did he? I don't understand why he played it so hard. It was always coming back down the table, that red, if he didn't rattle it in the jaws. As I say, he could have just pushed the red past the middle pocket. Easy to think of the game. Sat here, isn't it? So he's going to have to play this at pace. I don't think he can hold for the blue, so may have to come down and bounce off the black cushion, go back down again. Very risky to try and hold for the blue.
Extremely awkward, goodness me.
Well, he did hold for the blue, and that was an excellent shot.
1.
Can you see the red to the left middle? It was an attacking shot he played, going into the reds there and trying to free the pink, bring the pink into play. But can he see this red? Keep moving. It looks like he can.
Seven.
Oh, he's missed the blue. Now, what's the damage? If there's a red that will go there, it's a nice, easy starter for Martin O'Donnell and a chance to relax into this final.
One.
Yeah, just a little shorter pace. Wanted to be straighter on the pink. The black is available to the left corner.
7.
Just come a little too far for the red below the pink to play onto the black, so having to take this red with the rest. I may have to play this red with a touch of right-hand side on the cue ball. Go back down for the pink into the right corner, or the blue. If he stuns behind the red, it could go wrong. Very good rest player. I hope I haven't put him off by saying that. Well, it's not too bad. I think he's on the black. Try to find a path through the reds and the black. Go down for the blue. Another big shot though, if he takes the black on. And it's not too bad. It's got a thin cut to the left corner. And the blue sat down the table 50. Waiting. So it doesn't need to think too much about where the cue ball's going. Just concentrate on the pot. Overcut it.
Martin O'Donnell, 15.
You can almost feel the tension in O'Donnell's body in these early stages of his first final. He hasn't settled as yet. He's had a few half chances. That was the best to date, but too thin on the red.
Yeah, better too thin than too thick. possible chance. Maybe a chance here of getting in behind the brown, but he's just got to be careful not to push the red over the left corner. Yeah, not bad, not bad. It's in fact pretty good.
Quite a discrepancy in the average shot times, and Martin, as we know, is one of the more pedestrian on the tour again. Wilson gesticulating, feeling that the ball ran off a little.
Well, we saw it coming down the table. It did run to the right. Look at this again. Watch this. But when you play a ball so slowly, look at it going to the right. Fortunately, there's no easy red on.
No, and it's not a great table at the moment, is it, with both the pink and the black in awkward spots?
I think this is the kind of game that Martin O'Donnell needs. You know, just have a few shots settled, but he needs to win it. Doesn't want to go 2-0 down in one of these kind of battling games. Yeah, good speed. Black is available to this right corner, as you can see. Could have took the red down the cushion. Play onto the black, but it was risky. Cue ball's close to the pocket if it's hard enough. Excellent safety. Oh, what a clever shot he played there, I can tell you. He tried to get in off the blue and play the cue ball in behind the green. Very, very good shot. Look at this. How near was that? And how near was the snooker? Nice fancy shoes, those.
I can see the green envy in your expression, Joe.
Yes, I do like a good shoe.
You're right, though. This is probably the sort of frame that O'Donnell wouldn't mind at this stage of his first final, just to get a feel for things, really. He's made 1 or 2 errors. Of course, missing the red in the first frame proved very expensive. The old rhythm and blues, part of the Johnson autumn-winter collection.
Mine was slightly different, Philip.
Well, yours make those look pretty sombre, actually.
Pink, white and red. Got so close to knocking that red over the pocket, didn't he? What a picture. The red coming back down the table, but not far enough to go over the pocket. It's good safety from both players, this. Yeah, he's risked it again, and because the table pulls to the right slightly, he hit that red thicker than he wanted. He was trying to leave the cue ball on the black cushion. What can he do with the cue ball here? Can get the red. What the cue ball? Well, that kiss has just made things very difficult for Gary Wilson. This could be an all or nothing shot on the blue. Got to go in.
Blue ball.
Yeah, excellent shot. And now, every chance. Still a tough table, but the pink is available, the black is available.
Seven. Twelve.
No question that in the early running, Gary Wilson looks the more comfortable, the more composed, which is entirely to be expected, really. This is his 5th ranking final, remember. He's won 2. He's won very recently as well, so he's in the winning habit. He's not afraid of the big occasion. And this looks like a pretty respectable chance to double his lead. Apply the early pressure.
20.
And he'll know exactly how his opponent is feeling in his first final.
Yeah, he's played in 4 finals, hasn't he, Gary Wilson? Won 2, lost 2.
26.
and was heavily beaten by Mark Selby on his final debut.
27.
Won just 2 frames in a best of 19. So it is difficult to bring your A game to such a big match when you're not used to it. There's a long way to go, of course, and that is
43.
the beauty of a final like this, that you've got time to find your feet. But it's a good start from Wilson.
34.
Yeah, just looking at the scoreboard, 29 points the lead. .35 with the pink. Still needs a couple of reds with colours. But he's nicely on this red to the middle, and he'd only need another red and a colour.
40.
Again, that was very wise playing for this red first while he had the chance to.
41. .46. 47.
Just the colour needed then. You could attack the black and red, but just got to make sure of the blue. Doesn't have to hit this hard, just get the cannon to the black, you'd be on the red to the left corner. So one snooker to tie.
I think something may have happened which is just causing a delay in play. It would appear that someone's been taken ill in the audience, so obviously there's going to be a delay while the person in question gets the necessary assistance. Hopefully all is well. Well, it looks as though the players are actually going to leave the arena, so obviously this is cause for concern, and the priority inevitably is to make sure that the audience member in question gets the attention that's necessary, and hopefully they'll be okay. But we're going to have a slight hiatus at the start of this final with Gary Wilson 1-0 up and looking good for 2-0. As Joe mentioned, Martin O'Donnell, as things stand, needs a 4-point snooker to tie. Wilson has made the better start, which is perhaps not surprising. And we'll just wait for the players to return. Remember, there's 8 frames in this first session. 9 is the target to win the Welsh Open and pick up the Ray Ridden Trophy. And of course, there's plenty more where this came from. We will have the Players' Championship for the international market, starting tomorrow in Telford, of course, the top 16 on the one-year list. If O'Donnell does win today, he will be in the field. Gary Wilson, of course, long since confirmed. And then in Yushan, we head to the World Open from the 18th to the 24th of March. That's live.
Back underway, and with Alan McManus, just a quick word on frame 2. The difference 47 with 43 remaining, so a good chance to go 2-0 up.
Yeah, he looks pretty secure and safe in frame 2, so the ideal start from Gary. He's made a nice break in frame 1, likewise frame 2, and Martin hasn't gotten a grip of it yet, but I'm sure he will.
Thank you, Alan, and you can probably hear that Phil Seymour is calling back our players. Out come Martin and indeed Gary. So back we go once again to our commentary team of Joe Johnson and Philip Studd.
Okay.
So we're back underway in the Welsh Open final with Gary Wilson looking favourite to lead 2-0, with his opponent requiring a snooker already to tie. Wilson having taken the first frame, the break of 98. But it is just the one snooker, so certainly not over yet. This has been quite a long frame, even before the break in play, because a member of the audience was taken ill. Happily, they've got the attention that they need. It's 30 minutes in length, this one, including the delay in play into the 42nd minute. But for Martin O'Donnell, it's just about trying to settle into his first ranking final. Remember, this is unknown territory for him. Gary Wilson with 2 titles already, both in the home nations, of course. He's the reigning and double Scottish Open champion. But for O'Donnell, the biggest day of his snooker life.
Yeah, and he's not out of this frame yet, because if you can pot this red, get high on the black, or just get on the black. The red is behind the black spot, so in a good place for laying a snooker. So it just depends if you can hold this. He needs the black to be able to tie with one snooker. But this is difficult with the long stuff like this. Such a touch shot as well, this. It's got to drop it in. Oh, decided to go up and down. And not the best position. As I say, if he takes the pink, he needs 2 snookers.
1.
So it's got to be the black. So definitely 2 snookers now, taking the pink.
7. Martin
And that's
O'Donnell.
1 snooker. And because it's so far away from the cushion, a little bit harder to hit. I wouldn't expect him to miss this, but just got to be aware of the free ball and not play it too hard.
Foul. Martin O'Donnell 4.
No free ball. So 1 more snooker needed. He himself needed 3 snookers when he was defending his Scottish title in the final. Make that semi-final.
Yeah, that was remarkable. Can show you long.
It's coming back down the table. Doesn't want to hit that middle pocket bump. Brown in a good spot for snookers. Every time they play a slow shot, the cue ball seems to run a different angle. This table is pulling to the right. A couple of good kisses. Again, I wouldn't expect him to miss this, but I didn't expect him to miss the other one. And if he does miss it this time, it's definitely a free ball.
One.
So, got to get that cue ball in a spot where he can play the snooker in behind the brown. He had a look at the shot before he took the red on.
8.
I think I would have preferred to have been on the baulk cushion.
Martin O'Donnell, 8.
Yes, in that extraordinary semi-final between Gary Wilson and Zhou Yulong, Wilson actually eventually got back into that final frame. Remember, Zhou had already celebrated victory with a fist pump with a 4-point snooker and then a 5-point snooker on the blue to tie the frame, and then eventually one on the respotted black, having needed 3 4-point snookers at one stage. It was incredible stuff. And of course, he then went on to make the most of that act of escapology and beat Noppon in the final.
Yeah, maybe a chance here of the snooker. Well, didn't expect it to be behind the blue, but he's got it. Again, I wouldn't expect him to miss this. It's straight up and down. You just never know. In fact, he can hit the yellow. Well, with the brown going close to the green, if Martin could get a chance at the yellow, every chance of getting in behind the brown. So catching the yellow thick confirms my belief that the table's running to the right.
The difference. 28 the difference, I should say. So O'Donnell still looking for the one snooker he now needs. What a frame this would be to win for him. That would certainly settle him down. Seemed long odds just now, but much stranger things have happened.
Yeah, moving the brown away from the green hasn't done himself any favours. I think is a little bit unfortunate. I think this is swervable. It's a fraction of being a very good snooker. Had it not kissed the blue, it would have been a different class. Where's the cue ball? Oh, wow.
Wasn't far away, was it? And the longer that this situation continues, the greater the chance that things could turn against Wilson in this increasingly marathon frame, which is now into its 55th minute. That includes the delay in play, of course.
Well, the blue in a nice place for snookers, but he may be forced into potting the yellow here.
Two.
He's got to play him behind it with a lot of right-hand side on the cue ball. If he's playing it thin, green's going towards the pocket. He's happy with that. Once again, he's hit the wrong side of the green there. He was trying to leave the cue ball in behind the black, but because the table is pulling to the right, he's hit it the wrong side of the green.
If Wilson could pot the green, then O'Donnell would need 3 snookers and the frame would surely be over.
Well, I expected him to go for the green there. Shouldn't be too worried about leaving the green on. There's no easy snooker. And that's pushed the pink into a good position. Blue and pink, really good positions for snookers.
On we go then. Very nearly an hour since this frame first got underway. Wilson remains the favourite, but it is still just the 1 snooker required for O'Donnell to turn this frame around and level the final.
Yeah, needed 2 to start with. Oh, that hasn't done him any favours. Pushing the pink safe. Again, waving his arms in the air, saying the cue ball has drifted to the right. Well, it does.
This frame has ground to a halt, really. O'Donnell still plotting away to get the snooker he needs to turn it his way. In the end, decided to pot the green.
Yeah, he couldn't think of a decent safety shot or attempted snooker. Didn't really want to pot the green, but felt he had no option. Doesn't want to pot the brown, though. The blue's in a good spot. Just a little bit too much left-hand side on the cue ball. As I say, if you can get him behind the blue, it would be a good snooker, wouldn't it? He's battling, no doubt about that. Just got to be careful here not to go for the brown and find a pocket with the cue ball. Yep, too experienced to play that shot. And that is a pretty good shot. Didn't really want to pot this brown, but he's got no option.
Frame now into its 64th minute, and it's only the second of a scheduled 8 in this first session on a day of a possible 17. 9, of course, is the target for the title.
Four.
Just where he didn't want to be.
Arthur O'Donnell.
Sure feeling in the first couple of frames of this match. And of course, this is still the second frame, believe it or not.
Yeah, and he's slowed his man down, hasn't he? I mean, Kerry Wilson was playing pretty good, making that 98 in the first. Also made a 52 in this frame. So he was playing well. So he's slowed him down a little. Maybe a chance to bring the pink into play. And now the pink in a good spot. He's pushed the black a little closer, but he'd swap that for the pink being where it is. Again, he's saying it pulled to the right. Well, it does.
Yeah, it's not breaking news, really, is it? Let's be honest. We've seen quite a bit of this week. Good effort.
I'll say that was very close. A touch slower What a snooker that would have been. I bet Gary's heart was in his mouth there. But that should put an end to this frame.
Finally. Big whoops of applause. I think relief as much as anything for this crowd.
11 on the frame.
What a marathon. A frame that in the end lasted in excess of an hour and 7 minutes, but it's gone the way that it looked likely to for a very long time. The way of the Scottish Open champion Gary Wilson, who leads 2-0. Lift that trophy.
So,
oh, we miss.
The table pulls to the right.
Gary Wilson, 4.
Excellent pot. Cue ball staying short of the baulk line. Good pop with the rest. What a great scene that is, isn't it?
Wilson would be relieved in the end to get that frame over with, because at one stage, as Joe mentioned, O'Donnell did need 2 snookers. He got one of them, and the longer a frame like that goes on, the more you doubt whether things are actually going to end up going your way from a position of strength. So he's got that out of the way, and he's looking now to re-establish the fluency he showed in the first frame and a half when he made those breaks of 98 and 52. He's certainly been much the more in control so far, with the experience of those finals under his belt, 2 of which he's won, and the second of which was only a handful of weeks ago in Edinburgh to retain his Scottish Open.
18.
O'Donnell sitting in his chair there looking a little concerned again at the way things are unfolding in frame 3.
Yep, caught the, well, missed the red completely, didn't he? But it was a good pot from Gary Wilson. Now, maybe a chance to open more
25.
reds up here, taking this red on to the right corner. And that certainly opened things up nicely on the blue, and brought another 3 or 4 reds into play. And this is what he does best when he's attacking the balls, opening the balls up, playing attacking snooker. This red at the back of the pack will go. So another 3 reds before he needs to bother about going into the reds.
$32.
Well, he might decide to open them up again here with the insurance of that red over the pocket. He's considering it. Doesn't need to hit them hard, just give them a little touch.
$39. 40.
Looking to become just the 3rd player this season, after Judd Trump and Ronnie O'Sullivan, to win 2 ranking titles, and only the 5th player to win 3 home nations titles or more after Trump,
47.
Mark Selby, Neil Robertson and Mark Allen, as Martin O'Donnell once again watching on from his chair. Wow, he very nearly overcut that red.
Well, the cue ball does drift to the right there, doesn't it? We've seen it with blacks going towards that pocket. And as you say, very nearly overcut it. Now, can he see enough of this red directly above the black?
55.
It appears not. No, can't see enough of that. So just a safety.
Gary Wilson, 55.
Nice 55. Pushing a red safe onto the right side cushion. that's not turned out too badly. It's covered the red over the right corner. Don't think he's got enough angle to attempt to pop that red off the cushion. Gary Wilson has got another red safe on the left side cushion. Didn't want the kiss on the yellow. So another chance here. Things just not going for Martin O'Donnell at the moment. And having said that, shouldn't have made contact with the yellow.
Heavenward glance, it's looking likely to be 3-0 now, if Wilson can knock this red in.
One.
He's been rock solid, Gary Wilson. Looks very relaxed this afternoon. This is becoming familiar territory for him. For my money, his real breakthrough was his run to the semi-finals at the Crucible back in 2019, where he eventually lost to Judd Trump, but he beat Mark Selby, he beat Ali Carter. And I think that really announced him as a player on the big stage. He'd already been in a ranking final, but to mix it with the best and beat the best in the biggest tournament of all, I think gave him that extra belief. And of course that was confirmed in winning his first Scottish Open title last season, which he's backed up again this season. And this frame is done.
14.
Yeah, it was a poor safety from Martin O'Donnell, catching the yellow. And quite a number of shots are just not going Martin's way at the moment. He's had chances. But as I said right at the very beginning, you don't really settle until you win a frame. And this next one is all important, really. 3-1 at the interval, and he's still very much in this. 4-0, and he's under the cosh.
Okay, 29.
Yep, and everything just going nice and easy for Gary, making the game look very easy, like he did against John Higgins yesterday.
He just looks like a top player now, doesn't he? He looks like
a
player who belongs with the elite. And for Martin O'Donnell at the moment, just unable to really impact this final. It's still early days, but the next frame, the one before the first interval, feels something akin to a must-win for him, even at this relatively early stage of the final.
43 and the frame.
Breaks of 55 and 43 then continue Gary Wilson's early dominance of the Welsh Open title match. Martin O'Donnell with food for thought. Wilson extends his lead to 3-0.
Noah, let's go.
It's not the way he wanted his first ranking final
Frame
to get
4.
underway.
Martin O'Donnell to break.
3 frames down already, but it is the first to 9, so there's still plenty of time. That said, he needs to register a frame pretty quickly, and this one would do nicely. Something to build on the other side of the first interval. Just to feel part of things, because at the moment, Gary Wilson is dominating. Wonderful trophy, made even more special by the fact that it's the Ray Reardon trophy, the great Welshman.
Now don't forget the table pulls to the right. Yeah,
Oh,
he made that mistake in the last frame.
Gary Wilson 4.
You must have had a few tussles with Ray down the years on the table, Joe.
Yeah, many times. Yeah. Great player. What he didn't know about the game wasn't worth it. Well, may be tempted by this, 3-0 up. Yeah, not far away. Now, does Martin play the double here? He hasn't got away with it.
Tends to be the way when you're struggling a bit, you're being outplayed. That when you take on something like that, you leave it. Could easily have run safe, but it's not going that way at the moment for Martin.
I always think if you're going to play the double, you've got to play for the colour or leave the cue ball dead on the cushion. Cue ball. Oh, very close. Got a couple of reds to the right corner that he can play on. Just a little heavy. Unless there's a plant there, it's end of break.
Gary Wilson 6.
wasn't worthwhile taking on. The cue ball would have been going into the reds with no colour available. Well, just looking at the possible 3-ball plant. Every time Gary Wilson plays a safety, he's putting Martin in a little bit of trouble. The pink on the right side cushion there, making things a little bit difficult on the return safety. You can see all kinds of dangers when you're 3-0 behind. Oh, how close was that? Played that cue ball back into the balk area in case he missed it, but that came so close. Great shot maker, Gary Wilson. Great cue power. Yep, he's hid the red. Or has he? Or has he? I'm not sure if he has, you know. Plenty of danger if he takes his red on. If he plays back down for the blue, there's a red just above the blue. If he plays for the black, there's a red below the black. He's covered the red below the black, but there's a half chance here. The red to the baulk corner. Big shot. Afraid not. Tough shots those when you're 3-0 down, but it was a chance. And it's red along the cushion. When you're 3-0 up, these seem a little bit easier. Yep, nicely played, and he's in again. Off and running.
Martin O'Donnell's highest break in this final so far, just 15. He's only potted 13 balls. He hasn't laid a glove on Gary Wilson as yet, and now he's got to hope to get another chance in this final frame before the interval. Otherwise, he's in damage limitation territory already in this first session.
Nine.
Well, again, he could go into them. He'd be on the red just above the cue ball. If he's not on a different red. Yeah, took the red onto the baulk corner, but had to get it the way he played it.
$25. $32.
Lots of left-hand side on the cue ball there to check it back and get closer to this red, to the left corner.
$33.
Yeah, just a little heavy.
40.
Always looked heavy going towards that left side cushion. Still on the red to the right corner, but more difficult than what it should have been. Oh, missed that by a long way.
Gary Wilson, 40.
Now, can he see the red to the right corner? He can't see enough of it to pot it. So, a little fortunate there, missing the red by such a distance and not leaving anything easier. Suppose Martin O'Donnell just pleased to be coming back to the table. Could have been end of frame had the red gone in. That is not the best safety shot. Again, left the red onto the right corner, didn't get the cue ball past the baulk line. He needs the break now, I think.
Yes, on another day, Wilson having missed just now would have left a red for O'Donnell, but right now it's just not going his way at all. He's being outplayed, clearly, but he's also not getting that little bit of luck that he needs. He's going to have to regroup during that 15-minute or so break, if indeed Wilson goes on to clinch this frame now, which seems likely. Already 56 to the good. Shake of the head from Martin.
I think it started for him, Philip, in the first frame when he attacked the balls, opening the balls up all over the place, but missing the red to the right corner. And I think it started from there.
Yeah, because if he'd got that red, that 98 break that Gary Wilson made could have been this man's instead. And then, of course, the start of the final has a very different complexion as it is. Looking like 4-0.
Yeah, looking like, but not as yet. Lots of right-hand side on the cue ball to check it back down the table. Is he on one?
13.
I don't think he is. So Martin O'Donnell lives again in this frame. 63 points the lead, but the way the table is at the moment, if he could get a chance, he could do some damage. Good safety.
Thanks, Martin.
Thank you. Well, that works, moving the red away from the black. And getting some support from this crowd.
O'Donnell's pot success is now down in the 60s, 68%. Clearly that's nowhere near getting the job done in a ranking final. Still 83 there though, so given that the table is relatively open, there is still some hope for O'Donnell if he can get in next.
Yeah, Gary Wilson's safety though is pretty good, and he's got his man in trouble again here. Something to think about. Did well to get the cue ball back there. just one. Well, a couple of safe reds. One really safe on the cushion. That's more like it. Great shot, Matt. Absolutely great shot.
Well, that is surely the best pot that Martin O'Donnell has conjured today. Now, can he capitalise on it and get himself right back in this frame? There's plenty of points there.
There is, but there's more reds gone safe, hasn't there? There's 3 reds that are safer. But a chance to pop a few balls, and he hasn't had many of those kind of chances. He's overrun that one. Just a little. $58 points in the game. You want shots easier than this. Now he's overcut it.
Martin O'Donnell, 5.
After such a good opening red, his highest break remains just 15.
Yeah, but he needs a let-off like that.
I am trying.
4-0. It was on the cards. The red that Gary Wilson's just missed has blocked the pocket for the pink and black going in to that left corner. So this is a good red to remove. I don't think he can wait for the interval or come round quick enough.
One.
Wilson's own pot success isn't anything too special, actually. 83%, but he's monopolised the scoring.
7.
98, 52, 55, 43 and 40 in this frame, and now a chance to clinch a 4-0 lead.
8.
Well, that's snooker's required stage. I don't think he'll play on, even if he gets the chance to.
13.
2 snookers required.
14. Yeah. 20.
Plenty to ponder during the interval. He's played so well to get to this final, most notably the wins over Luca Brissell, and then of course his final frame deciding victory over Elliot Slesser when he made a superb century under extreme pressure to get the match won.
Thank you. 21.
But so far today he hasn't really featured, undercutting that red by a margin, and well, you saw what he thought of that one. Had a sniff in this frame. He knocked in that terrific red to the right centre, but it came to very little. And Gary Wilson has picked up the pieces.
26.
And he is looking very relaxed, very much in control.
27.
He can do no wrong right now. It was an amazing performance to beat John Higgins. And he's doing more than enough to dominate the title match at the moment.
$43. 34. $41. 43. Gary Wilson, 43, under 50.
380 points, plays 50 so far in Gary Wilson's favour in the Welsh Open final, and the Scottish Open champion well on course to add this title to his collection. Martin O'Donnell with it all to do in the second half of the first session. Wilson leads the Welsh Open final 4-0.
Shredsville at the moment. He's all over the office. He can't even play a safety shot. OK, Gary's been quite effective. He scored heavy, but he's struggling, Martin, you know, even when he does get an opportunity. So hopefully he'll go to the practice table and try and find a bit of timing.
I think Jimmy put it, he's parked in Shredsville at the minute. Poor old Martin.
Feel for him.
It's looking quite bleak, isn't it, Alan?
Very much so. The only, I suppose, solace he can take is that we're only 4 frames into the potential 17 of this final. But what's been apparent, albeit that the match has been very stop-start, it's been pretty long, an hour and 49 minutes all told, but Gary is comfortable playing any game you want to play. He can score with the best of them, and he can hang back and play safe till the cows come home. He's got no problem with it whatsoever. Switching between attack and defence, no problem. He's bossing it.
It's by no means over. Judd was 4-0 up against Ronnie recently in the Grand Prix, so it's not impossible. But Gary Wilson, he picked up pretty much where he left off last night in the first frame. A lovely 98 break, Jimmy, and he's got going quick again.
Yeah, this might be a little bit of inexperience. The balls that he has missed in this tournament, Martin O'Donnell, is because he's checking where the cue ball's going for a cannon. It's the very first shot of the match. You know, you've got to make sure that pot, especially if you're opening all the balls up. Gary Wilson, you know, got his scoring boots on all night. As soon as that first red goes in, this blue uses all the pocket to go in, but once that goes in, now you know he's off and running. So a little bit of inexperience, but since that shot, Martin O'Donnell, not really. The only time he scored is when he already needs a snooker, and you know, he's in a bit of trouble at the moment.
Indeed, and the points, I mean, massively. Gary Wilson, if you're just looking at the total points, massively in front, 380 to Martin's 50. And in frame 2, it was a long, drawn-out frame. Gary won it. And then, Alan, we get into frame 3.
Yeah, he puts a long sort of blind cut-back red that's a telltale sign that he's seeing it very nicely. Here it is here. It's thinner than half ball, actually quite a bit thinner, but in it goes, and he keeps the cue ball shy of the baulk line to get about his work. He only goes on, I say only, I mean, he makes 55 off of this. Once that red goes in with the rest, he's in good position to probably win the frame in one hit, but he's just in stroke, and he's not under any pressure. Even going into the pack here, you didn't feel like I need to get on one where I've got to win the frame in one hit, because there's the odd mistake by Martin, getting a piece of the yellow there. And what happens when you're in no form, you find the gap like that, and then once this red goes in, you know he's 3-0 in front, and it's pretty much easy street, never mind downtown Shredsville.
Or parked there.
Yeah.
Hopefully he'll be able to get out at some point. And then, Jimmy, into frame 4, a really important one for Martin to win, but it didn't happen.
Listen, me and Alan, we don't miss a ball from here, you know, so we're maybe being a bit harsh, but the way he plays this shot in the 4th frame, he's going to play this, we're going to show it now. He hasn't had a lot of table time. He's now got this shot. Now, he plays to pot that, and he plays a bit of safety. He's not on the black, you know, it's a bad shot all round. He should have just tried to roll it in, maybe cannon the pink, give the red a chance to go in, give himself, you know, get on the table. If that red would have gone in the yellow pocket, he would have probably missed the black, because it was so difficult. He's just struggling a bit at the moment.
I want to ask as well, his average shot time, Alan, is back to 36, Martin. Has he kind of gone back to his old ways a wee bit, do you think? Is it, like, I mean, it's quite significant, you know, how much he reduced and how well he was playing.
I wouldn't call him out on that just yet, you know, because he's been pinned back. Gary's been mindful, like we said, about switching between modes. Gary's pinning him back and making sure he doesn't present him as best he can anyway with any easy opportunities, and he's suffering because of that. So, you know, the shot time, we can forgive him at the moment, because he just is. That shot, Jimmy made a good point about the shot there, the long red to the yellow pocket. A lot of this game, and certainly in finals, the business end of matches and tournaments, it's almost about the shots that you don't play. You've got to be aggressive there, Jim, haven't you?
Yeah, you know, he's just feeling it a little bit, you know, and I think the only way he's going to get back into this match if Gary starts missing, and that doesn't look like happening.
Well, we'll be finding out what's going to happen in the next 4 frames of this afternoon session of this year's Welsh Open final. There is Martin O'Donnell. He hasn't had an awful lot of time on the match table today. He's been absolutely wiped so far. Gary Wilson 4, Martin O'Donnell 0. What can the World 76 find next?
Snooker on Eurosport is sponsored by Ambassador, the premium value cruise line.
As he was last night with a magical 147.
Good pops. And you could say it was on another maximum because the balls are so nicely spread here.
The break continues, and how big is this break going to be?
So 5 reds, 5 blacks, and we're off again.
Oh, this is incredible, really. What a start to the semi-final. It could have been a maximum in the first, and he's on for it again in the second. John Higgins, well, he's been hit by a barrage so far this evening. Oh, this is a frame ball, so that's surely the frame one. And again now, he can focus on trying to make the perfect break for the second frame in a row. Incredible. Again, John Higgins will be rooting for him. He's won 9 this season. And we could well be on the way to a 10th now. Oh, 1 or 2 members of the crowd thought he'd caught too much of the jaw there, but it's dropped. Heart in mouth moment. The crowd living every shot. A few prayers being said. 2 more pots to go. This is amazing. golden 4 in the first frame. He missed the 14th red, and now 1 ball away from the maximum. Incredible, absolutely spectacular from Gary Wilson. What a start to the evening.
It was just a burst of scoring. It was fabulous to watch, and we did chat to Gary Wilson last night. We're saying, imagine if you were to make a 147, make the final and win the Ray Reardon Trophy. It would just be full house, check.
Yeah,
Goes bingo.
Yeah, you know, to win 2 ranking tournaments, the strength and depth we got on our circuit now would be an amazing feat. And a 147 in a one-table situation, and it looks like it's going to happen.
Well, let's not get carried away. He's in a wonderful position. It could look like it's about to happen, 4-0. And I want to show a tweet for all snooker fans out there. I'm sure they'll be on all social media. They'll have seen this. Chris Wakelin watching the final today like hanging by a thread, hashtag Players Championship, and well, it's sort of behind the sofa stuff, but hey, listen, he'll be able to watch on a little bit happier now, because if Martin O'Donnell was to win, Chris would lose his place in the Players Championship next week.
Yeah, that's right. He's in possession of jersey number 16, 16-man event, so he's obviously a Gary Wilson fan today. And if Gary gets this done, Chris will be at Telford next week.
Indeed. Well, 4-0. Chris is happy at the minute, as are Gary Wilson fans. 4 frames to go. Obviously, it goes without saying, Martin O'Donnell's, he's got to get something on the board.
He's got to get 3 out of this next 4, you know, especially the first 2 frames. He's got to sort of win them in one visit. And the only way I can see that happening if Gary misses an easy ball. But he looks like he's in stroke out, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got to win this mini session, Martin. Nothing else will do.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, Alan. And out they come then. 4 more frames this afternoon. And let's return to our commentary team of Joe Johnson and Philip Studd.
A big 4 frames, the biggest in the life of Martin O'Donnell, playing in his first ranking final, and at times it's shown, to be honest. He's looked a bit edgy, a bit tentative. He's not been able to replicate the form that has got him to the title match. Gary Wilson, who's been here and done it before, worn the T-shirt,
Thank you, frame 5.
won 2 Home Nations titles
Gary
already,
Wilson
going
to
for a
break.
hat-trick today. He looks composed, he looks relaxed. He's not playing at his very best, but he's still playing well enough to have won all 4 frames, with 4 more to come in this session. 9, of course, the overall target for the title. And O'Donnell has to target winning this mini session 3-1. If he can, then clearly he's back in contention, but it's a big if at the moment, Joe.
Yeah, he had a chance in the last frame, didn't he? He knocked a terrific red into the right middle. But he couldn't make much out of it. And that's just the pressure that he's been put under in his final so far. But that's a good safety. Cue ball tight to the cushion. Always makes things a little bit more difficult for your opponent when that happens. Oh, how close was that? Now, has he got away with it? Can he see this red to the corner? Well, he can't see it directly, but I think he can pot it off the cushion. Whether he can get to a colour from it or not, I'm not sure. Just depends how thick he hits the red. Well, make contact with the other one. Yeah, it's swervable. But once again, can't get to a colour, but it won't do O'Donnell's confidence any good missing that red.
1.
Yeah, he lost the cue ball there. And he potted the red, swerving round the pink. But he couldn't have landed much better on the yellow.
3.
But when you don't get punished for your mistakes, you know, you kind of think you're invincible.
4.
Good angle here on the brown to try and go into that cluster. Now then, how's your luck?
Gary Wilson, 4.
Anxious looks there from Martin O'Donnell. Can he see this red? More importantly, can he get to a colour from it? If he can. The black may go, but will he play for it?
One.
Doesn't want to be hampered. Well, if he's hampered, he's just not running his way at the moment. Oh, what a big shot. This could be 5-0 if it doesn't go in. It has gone in though, and that was a very brave shot, Martin O'Donnell to come.
Well, he knocked in a great red in the frame before the interval into the right centre pocket, which didn't in the end amount to anything. That was at least as good. Can he finally put
9.
a break of substance together? Nothing better than 15 to this point. But that was a terrific shot. Gutsy, because of course if he'd missed it, he was leaving Wilson in again.
$14. $15.
Well, has another 3 reds at least. Try and build a lead. He's hampered, but why so hard? No need to play the cannon to the red. May take the red to the left corner. Yeah, good recovery shot. Can you see the black?